want to talk about underexplored decks this format and some really high potential points that I'm seeing players kind of starting to make a push towards in the meta. We are a little bit away from the next turning point in the meta here, but I think it's always interesting when players kind of start to discover something and explore other options that were there. So unexplored peaks and crevices, or maybe things that players are noticing. Let's dig right into this, shall we? Alright, smash it, love and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on more else. Kind of the primary reason why I wanted to make this video was I wanted to talk about Phantom Knights here. And yes, the first thing we're going to be talking about for this video is in fact Phantom Knights. Wow! So, Phantom Knights, I've seen this deck walking around, alright? Like, I know it's in the rogue category right now, and I'm sure most of you guys do, but why is it in the rogue category? So, last weekend at Locals, a friend of mine was messing around with Phantom Knights. I also had the chance to play against a Phantom Knight player, and not gonna lie to you guys, the field was a little bit ridiculous. So, a deck that ends on Verte Anaconda, Dragoon, alright, so basic concrete stuff here, Rusty Bardiche, like it's supposed to, and then you end on like a combination of Fog Blade, alright, Sword, alright, depending on how you're building the deck. And, alright, depending on how your hand opened up, you get the chance to make it F-Zero as well. How is that bad? Alright, as somebody that watches infinite combos be built with some of these fields, that board is one of the best around that I've seen in a very long time. I know a lot of players look at a lot of these current builds and they're like, wow, you know, do I need to play this? I think being able to produce that field every single game with the potential to rank up into like an Arc Rebellion or a Requiem, depending on your skill tree, is very interesting. And I don't feel like players are exploring this enough right now. The biggest thing that I did notice, though, was drolling the deck really hurt them. Cutting off their focal point searches, they still can end on Dragoon with the F-Zero, depending on how the field sets up. So they can still create this massive power structuring field here. But I feel like this isn't as explored as really the other rogue decks out here. I think that the potential behind the ceiling with this deck, and your power ceiling can be that well. I understand that at the end of the day, you have some very big bricks that you can draw. Actually, I got lucky. The duelist I played opened up his one of Red Ice Fusion 2 games in a row. I guess variance is on my side for simple cuts and things like that. But at the end of the day here, if you can consistently build those boards, maybe the deck's greatest weakness is itself. I'm not a Phantom Knight expert, but from where I'm sitting right now, F-Zero, Dragoon, Sword, Rusty, you know, 4 or 5 levels of interruptions, messing with the opponent's field, still having those supply of cards in the hand to keep the fuel burning for the fire, seems like it's very unexplored to me. So I'm going to leave you guys with that thought, though, because that's the true point that I want to make this video is there's so much potential to be had there. Like, what do you do? Do hand traps just ruin your day that much? I'm unsure at this point in time. But like I said, from what I saw, Droll is a real focal point to this deck. If they can open up well every game, well, I guess they deserve the win. So maybe more players out here. If you guys have actually messed around with Phantom Knights as well, please do give me your thoughts on this deck. All right, like I know they're not getting anything like too exciting. Maybe like some combination trying to mess with Despia cards. But I think in the current incarnation, like Tour Guide is pure gas for the deck. So we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing more innovation from this deck. All right, next up over here, I want to talk about Sky Strikers. Now, actually, I think what we ended up happening here was kind of players got burned out with Striker. I kind of think that the deck blew up in a blaze of glory. Now, when Engage came back, there were so many players that were so gung-ho, so excited to mess around with Striker, but I think that we actually had the kind of the opposite thing happen for being an underexplored option now. Everybody picked the deck up in the beginning weeks, and then everybody kind of tossed it aside. Now, which means that we've shifted from a lot of people back down to the lower spectrum here. Now I'm seeing players messing around with testing Shared Ride in the main deck. All right, I have not seen anybody trying to do evenly shenanigans. There's been a very distinct lack of going second versions of the deck out there, even though, well, by going second, I mean a lot more of the evenly variants out there that there used to be. And it's interesting to me, honestly. It really is. Seeing how we went from such a high level of innovation to, this sucks, to now the few players that are playing it, you have, I think the community's agreed now that 2 rows looks like it's mandatory. I know a lot of people were trying to get really cheesy out here, trying to play multiple or 1 rows. I don't think it works. I think you have to play 2 of it. It's also an out to Dragoon, all right? I'm seeing people testing out more Eagle boosters at this point in time. Double Shark Cannon looks like it's become a solidified norm at this point, but when you look at how this meta is adapting towards these decks, yeah, Strikers does have a lot of room to solve itself? No. Do you have a lot of changing capabilities to mess around with in your tech flux spots? Yeah. All right. Imperms, Veilers, all right, Ghost Bells, Skullmeisters, Ash Blossoms, your hand trap lineup is your flex spots. That's where you get the chance to adapt and evolve. All right. Do you want to main Nibiru? Do you need to main Nibiru? All right. Jamming Waves has pretty much been cut from the innovation, level at this point in time. So as we go forward here, you just have to ask yourself the questions of, what do I want to do? I do think that Selene, Ningrisu, and Hulk have pretty much become bigger choices here for the deck. I've also seen people kind of cutting back on Hayate right now, trying to fit in the Nightmare Phoenix to actually have the Spell and Trap outs at this point in time. And then, of course, you have to ask yourself, do I want to be the scumbag in the room to play Mystic Mine in Striker? You have a lot of questions, and I'm seeing all kinds of different answers for this. So, yeah, lots of room to explore on that one. The next one I want to talk about here is actually going to be Eldritch. Now, Eldritch has been in the back seat for a very long time here. The last month and a half, Eldritch has fallen off. All right, the grind state of the format with Tri-Brigade, it's pretty much check the deck. I think the best innovation that I've seen from this deck as of this point in time was what we were trying to cheese out some shenanigans with Pran Kids. That was kind of interesting. Not gonna lie to you. I really liked the idea that we could do something cool like that, but you have to ask yourself now, at this point in time, what do I need to do with Eldritch? What level of innovation do I need to pull out for this to be the real best deck in the format? And the answer is, I don't know. I think it's just a very unexplored option. It's definitely not on the power scale that it used to be. But now at this point in time, we need to look at other decks that can benefit from playing this package and find the best course of adaptability for it. That's where actually playing with Pran Kids was actually really cool, because that adaptability gave you the chance to kind of cover up the weaknesses of Pran Kids, which is good, decent back row. And if those back row are recurable with your 1-card engine, well, it's not to say a lot there. All right, you have a lot of that room to explore the developing card choices for that pool. So we'll have to wait and see what more comes out of it, but there's that. And the last one I want to kind of just give a little bit of a nod to. Nothing particularly too crazy here, but I do want to say that Plunder Patrol, you don't get a lot of room and innovation with this until new cards really come out, but I think that's fine. I think that we're going to continue to see innovation come out of this deck for a little while in terms of its tech choices. And as the meta continues to evolve and the choices for light and dark, the better elements that you can pick to support this is going to be what we're going to have to deal with overall in the long run for this deck to be good. So it's not so much that players aren't exploring Plunder, it's the matchups that Plunder's not good against really suck. But with that being said, you have so many cool option trees available to you for the deck that if you can just find what you want to do in terms of, getting the right appropriate ratios down, I think that that's fine at the end of the day. So Plunder's definitely underexplored in my opinion, at least for, unfortunately, how things are going right now. So guys, what do you think about the underrated decks in the modern format? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Is it just they're unexplored, or players just aren't too sure what to do about them? But please, like I said, smash the subscribe button, subscribe, and so you guys don't miss out more awesome content. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on. There's some more cool awesome content. Peace out, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out Vanquill40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MQuill40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mquillgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.